Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Lord Nerdy, and you guys probably don't know this because honestly, it's this part of me has never been reflected in my channel, but I am a huge musical theater fan. Um, so I just I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's put my top 10 favorite musicals plus some honorable mentions out there for the world to hear. So, my number 10 pick is The Lion King. Why does it hit my number 10 pick? Because it's an amazing musical. There are better musicals, but The Lion King squeaked in by the skin of its teeth for number 10. Its competitions were Aladdin and Prince of Egypt, so it was in there. Uh, should we start with the pros or the cons? Let's start with the cons. The cons, it's at this point got a lot of publicity. Um, the Broadway version and the original Disney version are both amazing, and then the live action came out, and while that was pretty decent, um, I frankly didn't enjoy it as much as Broadway version or the uh, original Disney version. That's the only con. It hit Disney's nostalgia lists, which granted probably all of them are now, but that one I didn't really like. Ups. It's Disney's magnum opus, which means great work, and probably their best work. Some would argue that's Beauty and the Beast, but I completely love Lion King over Beauty and the Beast, just cause. Um, Also, amazing soundtrack and textbook villain song. Seriously, if you're writing a musical, uh, and you want to write a villain song, go back to, um, the Lion King and listen to Be Prepared, and you will love it. And try not to base it too much, though. There is a thing called copyright. And my final thing is, for a pro, is it has very relatable characters. Um, for instance, Simba has experienced great loss, and he does what a lot of people I think would do in that situation. Tries to run away from the grief, the pain, and when that doesn't work, um, he gets angry. He gets angry with himself and a lot of other people, but mostly himself, although he doesn't want to admit that. That he is, and he's a thing. Scar is a jealous brother. I can kind of understand that. Me and my brother are in two different fields of interests, so I can't really be jealous of him and his successes, and my successes are the same, just on a different level. And then Mufasa is a victim of life, and so is his bride. What's her name? Sarabi. Nala is a hopeful warrior. I totally get that. And Rafiki is just amazing. And then there's Timon and Pumbaa. They just kind of exist, but they are my favorite part of both the show and the original Disney. So it's cool. So Once on This Island hits my number 9 spot for a lot of reasons. Let's start with the cons rather than the pros, because I want to leave off saying good things about each of these musicals instead of just saying bad things to leave people with. So the cons of this musical, it can be really slow in a lot of strange places. For instance, there's the song "We Dance" at the very beginning, and then afterwards is followed by a slower song, "One Small Girl," and you just kind of have to wonder, um, why? Because you start off on a beautiful note of um, just the traditional Caribbean music, which is very fast paced and lively, and then you kind of have a slower song, and it's not great. And that's my cat. Do you want to come up here, bud? And then, so my third, or sorry, my second is honestly, there's a lot of bad memories here, I guess. My school was actually supposed to perform the um, like the original Broadway show, for it, and because of COVID, that got canceled. And and also just the fact that there are just better musicals out there to watch. But it is a great introduction to musical theater. Now let's start with some pros. One major pro. It is an amazing story. It's kind of like if Frozen, Little Mermaid, and Pocahontas had a baby. And maybe let's throw a little of Coco's emotional beats in there. That's a big pro. Another pro is also I can remember the lyrics to almost all of the songs except for ironically the one that my favorite one. I don't remember all of the lyrics to I think it's Pray. Yeah, it's called Pray. I don't remember that. I don't remember all of the lyrics. And ironically, that's my favorite song. But, whatever. And then the final pro is it's pretty obvious. The whole breaking down racial barriers thing is an amazing, amazing storyline. As long as you don't go too far in a couple places, I think it's definitely good. Once upon a time, there was a musical called Into the Woods, and it made number 8 on this list. So, Into the Woods was the first Broadway show I remember going to see. Now, admittedly, it was performed by a community theater group, so it wasn't exactly like watching it on Broadway, but it was my introduction to musical theater, and what got me excited into musical theater in, I want to say, 5th grade, and the passion moved on from there. So, what makes it bad and what makes it good? Let's start with the bad, as usual. Let's start with the bad. Act 2. The entirety of, most of Act 2, minus the final midnight, or last midnight. So, Act 2, there's really no point. They were, I guess I can see the angle. They wanted to pull the but did they live happily ever after card. But to be completely honest, they could have just been like, and they lived happily ever after, the end. It could have ended with the first act and it wouldn't have changed the story one bit. You still could have showcased in a song, like Cinderella in several songs had showcased her doubts about the prince. Jack and his mother had definitely showcased the love for their giants in the sky in a couple of songs, and one song in particular, aptly named. And the baker and his wife had expressed their wanting for a child. And also, Baker's wife had expressed longing for a prince. So there were in several songs. So there really wasn't any need for a second act, because it was already kind of explained. But anyway, we did get the last midnight, so that's a good thing. And that's the first good thing. We got the last midnight. And then the next good thing I want to talk about is the fact that it's a crossover episode. It's basically a crossover of your favorite fairy tales. You got Little Red Riding Hood, you got Rapunzel, you got Cinderella, you got that one Grimm's fairy tale that almost nobody knows about the baker needing a child and killing a witch. And you've also got Jack and the Beanstalk. So that's a pretty good thing. Also, you got a killer soundtrack. Not gonna lie. So, Anastasia at the number 7 pick. Why? I'll tell you why. I watched the movie once. That's all. I have never watched the movie, but I have listened to several of the songs from the movie, and I love it, and I want to watch the movie. But unfortunately, it's not available anywhere because I don't have a Amazon Prime account. So that's the thing. But it's not available on Disney Plus, although it should be. Anyway, but I did go to see the Broadway version when it was traveling around and when it hit Rochester. So I got to go see it, and I loved everything about it. The snow visuals, um, the different songs, how it flows from a Russian style ball to a very inspiring song. Just everything about it is an amazing musical. I A couple downfalls that need to be mentioned, and I know I said that I was going to um, save the downfalls for last, but for this musical, because the good outweighs the bad, and the bad is just kind of my own petty reasons for not liking or for not placing it higher. Is just, yeah, it's just that. So Rasputin is not the bad guy. It's a Russian communist dude who eventually abandons Russian communist place. So that's it's okay. I'm fine with that. And number two, aside from Anastasia, I don't remember anyone's name. I could tell you that my favorite character was the old guy with the glasses and the mustache, but I couldn't tell you his name. None of the characters made a very lasting impression on me aside from Anastasia and her aunt. And I just, that was that, but that's just me. It's just me. I don't know. Newsies. What can I say that hasn't been said already? I do, frankly, enjoy the original Disney live action version to the Broadway version. However, the Broadway version brought us um, an actual villain song for Pulitzer, so I'm glad. Um, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with some negatives. Negatives. Uh, as far as I can tell, just from listening to most of the soundtrack of the Broadway version, um, there is Jack doesn't decide to stay in New York. I think just from listening to most of the soundtrack, I think he does eventually leave for Santa Fe. Leave a comment down below if that is actually not the case. I would love to know. I haven't finished the soundtrack yet, but yeah. And then that's the only downfall. Everything else about this musical is great. The dancing, the songs, the New York style talking that they do. Um, Racetrack is my favorite character, and he gets to shine quite a bit. I love how in the Broadway version, Pulitzer actually gets a song instead of just kind of being a myth like he is in the live action version. But that's just me. Again, this is all just me. It's my opinions, you know? Everybody's got their own opinion. That's right, we have made it to number 5, The Greatest Showman. So I know this is technically not a Broadway musical. However, I love it, don't at me, okay? Um, so some negatives. It's not, how to explain this? I don't understand how we're supposed to feel about P.T. Barnum, is my main complaint. I don't understand how we're supposed to feel about him. At the beginning, I think you're supposed to feel sympathy for him, and then as he goes on and grows more prideful, I think you're supposed to not like him very much, and then by the end, you're supposed to like him again. I'm just not. It's all very quick. There's no subtle transitions. And it's all very confusing. However, it is a great musical. My favorite songs are the opening, The Greatest Show, The Other Side, and This Is Me. I love each and every single one of those songs for a lot of reasons. The first two are incredibly fast-paced and definitely set the tone of the musical, and This Is Me is just an inspiration to anyone who listens to it, especially if you're in high school and you're in the musical theater business. Like, unless that's your school's thing, you're kind of branding yourself, you know? Most schools that I know are very heavily into their sports teams. And so musical theater kind of gets lost on the way. But I know there are definitely some schools out there who very much support their music. And so just hearing This Is Me, hearing your passion validated is quite an inspiration, and that is my big thing for The Greatest Showman. Number 4 is Dear Evan Hansen, as stated by the graphic. There's not a lot I can say about this show without spoiling it. So let's just get one big bad out of the way because the rest of the musical is amazing. Evan never, aside from Connor's parents, never comes clean about the scam. And I'm not gonna say which scam. Obviously, you're gonna listen to the soundtrack. But Evan never comes clean outside of Connor's parents. He doesn't come clean to the vast amount of people on social media to which he has lied to. He never comes clean to his friends, except for the one friend who already knew. And by the end of the show, you're just kind of left with this happy, sad vibe. That being said, Dear Evan Hansen is one of the most powerful musicals I have ever listened / seen. I went to go see it on Broadway, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second I was in that theater. Except for the first part when we showed up, because I was like, the seats, we are very cramped. But once they started singing, I was just like, wow. I think why that musical speaks to me so much is so many people don't realize the social hierarchy that is high school. You have the people on top, the populars. I'm not going to name names because in every school it's different. In some schools, the populars are the people with the most money. In some schools, the populars are the jocks. And in very rare cases, the populars are the people who love the arts. But in every school, there is a social hierarchy. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. A lot of people who aren't in high school, anyway. They don't realize the, for lack of a better word, bullying, socially, digitally, that goes on in high school. And it's not just the normal kid gets shoved up against locker thing. It can be mental warfare, too. Name calling. And people don't realize the negative aspects that can have on a person. And again, without giving anything away, these negative aspects hit Connor Murphy very hard, and it was going to hit Evan Hansen really hard if he hadn't done what he did for Connor's family, even if it was wrong. So I think a musical like this, and I've heard Be More Chill has kind of the same message, but I've listened to one song of Be More Chill, and that was Michael in the Bathroom, because everybody said that was the most popular song. I did not enjoy it. I tried to listen to a couple other songs from the Be More Chill soundtrack, and I was just like, this is what everybody's going on about? This is not great. This is just Dear Evan Hansen on steroids. So Dear Evan Hansen will hold the number 4 spot. I love it. I can already hear you guys writing in the comments, but Moana is not a musical. It never hit Broadway. Shut your mouths. Okay? It is literally defined in any movie review website. Animated, musical. Just because it's animated, I think people have a prejudice towards animated and Broadway. There's like a difference here, and for me, there's no difference. If they sing a number of songs, if the songs are catchy, if the songs are good, it's a musical. And for that definition, Coco is not a musical, no matter how good it is. But yeah. So, Moana. Let's talk about some cons before I go into the vast number of pros. So, Maui comes back for no reason whatsoever. After the classic fight between our main duo, Maui has a change of heart and for some reason returns. Big character arc, yes, but that just negated your entire fight. It negated a lot of things. And another thing, I think the hype surrounding the writer, let me back up. So the writer is a guy, you may have heard of him, by the name of Lin-Manuel Miranda. And everybody is now singing Hamilton songs. But everybody who doesn't like this movie that I have talked to doesn't like it because they said I was expecting it to be more like Hamilton. Now, let me explain something to you guys. Moana and Hamilton are two different things. That is the beauty of Lin-Manuel Miranda's writing. The writing is completely different. Just as In the Heights and Hamilton are completely different. In the Heights and Moana are completely different. He wrote all the songs for all three of those musicals. And they are completely different. Beauty. True beauty. Anyway, now that we've gotten that con out of the way, let's talk about pros. Let's start with the theme. Finding yourself. Amazing theme. Let's talk about another theme of the movie. Being accepted by society. That's Maui's big theme. He was doing all these things for the humans so that they would love him, and it was never enough. That is a big message right there. And now let's talk about characters. Let's talk about Maui. He's pretty cool. Dwayne Johnson, who knew he could sing, right? Moana, amazing, beautiful, powerful character. Tamatoa. Tamatoa is an amazing villain, and if you disagree, then you are kidding yourself, and you need to go rewatch Moana, or at the very least, Shiny, over and over and over again until you realize the beauty of it. Anyway, that's all I've got to say.
Mr. Secretary. Mr. Burns. Sir. And did you hear the news about
Come on, guys. You knew Hamilton was going to make this list somewhere.
Yeah. We named it after him, the Mercer Legacy.
So,
Sure.
Hamilton. What to say about it? It's number 2 for a reason. There is a major downfall, and that is Lin-Manuel Miranda took some of the historical events and changed them to make the story a little more interesting, but then once you hear the actual historical events that went down, you're just kind of like, oh. Well, that thoroughly ruined that character in Hamilton for me. But nonetheless, that's the only downfall, really. Oh, that and Hamilton cheating his wife for no good reason whatsoever. But other than that, you have some amazing songs, some little bit of slow, but the slow is actually perfectly timed throughout the musical. And honestly, who of us hasn't heard that and not immediately thought, oh, that's Hamilton, or that's Guns N' Chips, or that's the Adams administration, and then you just kind of start busting out singing Hamilton. They're catchy, they're repetitive. My dad is not overly invested in musical theater. He enjoys that I do hear musicals, and he enjoys that I listen to certain musicals. However, he's not as into musical theater as I am. But we watched Hamilton on Disney Plus, and pretty soon, maybe like 2 days later, I heard him singing Washington on Your Side. They're that catchy, so Hamilton's pretty good. Also, I cannot say enough about, how do you pronounce his name? Yavid? I'm gonna go with Yavid Diggs. I cannot say enough good things about him. He's perfect for the role in this. Okay, so obviously in my span of musicals, there can only be a number one pick. And because I was doing my top 10, I was forced to choose. So I'm gonna give you guys some honorable mentions. Yeah.
Just one day, that's all I need. Just a day without her nagging.
The gods are real.
Hills are alive with the sound of music.
The power of Ra.
And now we get to my number one pick. Here we go. Les Miserables. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so, just looking around at a lot of the kids in my music theater group, I realized not a lot of them know this one. Which is sad to me, because this is an amazing musical. This is amazing. It's just... Alright, let's get one bad thing out of the way. While Master of the House is a truly amazing song, those two characters are just completely useless to the plot of why are they even in this musical. Literally one song and then stories after that. Anyway, moving on from the bad thing. Good things. Everything, all the time. I really don't know how to describe a musical of this magnitude. It's like some of the emotional beats from Dear Evan Hansen meets the amazing writing of Hamilton meets some of the stylish, creative writing and music from, Home of the Woods, all meshed together. It's amazing. I love it. Everything from Look Down to One Day More and The Confrontation to Stars is just... And I know a lot of people don't like the movie version, but I do, so don't come at me. Anyway, yeah. So those are my top 10 picks. Love them, hate them, indifferent to them. It's fine. My opinions. I'm entitled to my opinions. Especially when it comes to musical theater. So, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe if I made any mistakes, specifically about the, Broadway version of Newsies and or Be More Chill. Please do not hesitate to put that in the comment section below. And goodbye.